What I've decided to do this evening is to take a look at this starting handle. So this is not factory. This was put on by someone in the past. They probably welded on a washer. I suppose it is easier to use with it on. I'm not overly gone on it, but I'd say it's nearly irreversible now, to be honest with you. But what I'm not overly gone on is this. So I'm going to remove this and I'm going to put in a piece of push rod. I have lots of push rods left and they're lovely, solid, sharp metal. When you cut them, you can get a nice square edge on them, and they're nice black metal as well. They look tidy. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to clean it all up, and hopefully the push rod will fit down there. I'm hoping the push rod will be thicker than it. If not, I'll have to look for another bit of metal, but this has to go anyway. It's a bit worn looking. So the push rod isn't going to work because we need to have 8.35 mil or 1.3 inch of diameter. So this sump stud seems to be a far better fit, and I've tried it in there already, and by the time it gets to the past the treads, it does start gripping very nicely. And when you fit it in there as well, it does get a good little grip as well. So I'm happy that will when I cut this to length, that it'll do the trick. So the measurement we take is from this pin. The starting handle goes through that, so we see that it's just over 33 mil, so we'll go with 33 mil. Maybe actually a little bit more, and I can file it back. I want it to be as tight as possible. So this is our bit. Give it a quick rub of the file, and it's just a little bit too long, so I can file a little bit off the end of it. So we'll chance it for a fit in there and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to stick this back in here, this bit of a pin, and then we're going to have a go at this. So as you can see, I'm rattling from side to side there. There's only about 1 mil in it. You'd want to have something in it anyway. And in here, it's just grabbing nicely both sides. I don't want to turn the engine because I don't have the liners held down with bolts. But yeah, that should do the trick. When I put the pin in, it'll be slotted the whole way, just like this lad is there. So that'll help guide it, and it'll help keep it centralized. There is a bit of wear in there, or maybe not wear, but maybe it was designed to be a little bit wider. Of course a bit, but I would have preferred a snugger fit. But anyway, we'll see what the new pin, maybe the new pin is a little bit narrower inside. So I would imagine that that's going to do the trick fairly well on both sides. So that's another little job done. I'm just going to see if there's anything else I can do to tidy this up. This is the dog nut that was on it originally. So I'm just going to make sure that, for example, this isn't too wide or too narrow. So I can hit it with the file if it is. Yeah, and a little shake from side to side and see what happens. Yeah, it's fairly good in there. Yeah, so it should work. A lot of the time it'll only be used just for turning the engine for timing anyway. So that's how it looks. Yeah, it's a bit more user friendly. So what I'll do is with the vernier now, I'm just going to take a measurement each side of that stud and just try and get it basically centralized. That's what I'll do with that pin. This is the starting handle bracket or holder. So I took it off, and there wasn't a spring washer, and there was plenty of treads, so for some form of a washer, so I picked out a nice Imperial Ferguson washer. So I'm going to put this back And what I'm going to do is, I gave everything a good clean in there because again it was painted, well they painted over dirt with this bracket still on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the bracket, but I'm going to bring it out a little bit like that so that it'll be able to take the wider end of the starting handle. So I'll have a look and see. This other brackets after going up one hole, as you can see they painted that as well with the bracket on, but anyway it doesn't matter, I can touch that up down the road if I want. Right, so there's two things to sort where this starting handle goes. Because the end of it's a little thicker, it's not going right into that bracket at all. And then this bracket here has two holes and it's on the lower one, and as you can see it's just not clicking in there, and it's too long because it's not going into that bracket enough, so it's coming out a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen off that nut and bolt. I'm going to twist him a little bit outwards. That should allow him in further, and I'm going to move this up to the next hole and we'll see can we get things lined up a little bit better. This is the other bracket that holds the starting handle, so I've just given it a bit of a clean up, and I'm going to put a washer behind that bolt, and I've filed a little bit down there on that first hole just to get it up a little bit higher towards the starting handle, so we'll see how that goes. That one there was a no-go because of this bit of the casting that was sticking out. It was you need to be able to pull the handle out from that, whereas here there's no problem, you can do it easy. So I think we're getting there on that. So that's sitting in nice and square, and that's not too bad there either. So at least it's in the right place. I am going to buy some gold paint for this tractor. I don't want to paint up the gold completely, but the likes of that I will stand down and just touch it up just so that it's not standing out. So this is just another small job. I'm still waiting on parts. 3 weeks, they haven't even been sent yet because they're really busy and they're doing other work. So these kind of jobs are just what I'm trying to busy myself with in the meantime. So yeah, it looks a bit better, and again it's in the original place. Another job I'm doing with the file is I'm just taking off some of the lumpy bumpy bits there. It was either very corroded or something, I don't know. It looks like very bad corrosion, which is strange. Nothing else is corroded on the tractor at all. So I'm just going to run over there with the file, nice and easy. You can see some fairly bad bits in there, and get a bit of a shape on this. I'm actually going to prime this, and actually I have some grey paint, so I'll paint it grey until I get some gold, because it's sticking out like a sore thumb the way it is at the moment.